Hello everyone, myself Silpi Maitra, Assistant Professor of English in Falakata College, Alipurduar under North Bengal University. Today's lesson plan is based on Henry Louis Vivian Derosio's poem The Orphan Girl. This particular poem is in Core Course 3 under Unit 3 and is for second semester students of English Honours. Now, Henry Derosio is an Indian poet of Portuguese origin. He is a great educator with a fantastic creative spirit, and he is often associated with the uprisal of Bengal Renaissance. Now, before we come to the term Bengal Renaissance, we must know what is the meaning of Renaissance. Renaissance stands for rebirth or renewal of energies or creative spirit or manifestos. Bengal Renaissance stands for the cultural, social, intellectual and artistic development of Bengal. The poem The Orphan Girl has a mixed appeal among the readers, not only in India but also across the world. From the title itself, we can understand and interpret the deeper meanings that the poet wants to make us understand. From the title itself, we can understand the tragic consequences that an orphan girl faces in this cruel world. She is someone who is devoid of love, care, warmth, and since she has lost her caregivers in the form of her parents who had brought her into this cold, detached, and selfish world, she has lost the meaning of her own life. Astonishingly, today's world walks more on the vices rather than focusing on the virtues. People have forgotten the ethics and the principles that were valued and established the real character of human beings once upon a time. The first few lines idolizes and idealizes the beauty of the orphan girl. In a very detailed and systematic manner, the poet describes and depicts the girl. Her lustre is being described as a kind of sparkle that is inherited within every girl. Her hair matches with the dark hue of the raven's wings. Her hair is black in color, and so are the souls of the people who refuse to give shelter to this young girl. Her cheeks have the beautiful hue of the pretty flowers, which are quite attractive for others. Her voice is soft, soothing, and tranquil in nature. It can mesmerize anyone and have a rhyming quality, and would also have a calm effect on the troubled souls of the people listening to her. Her eyebrows are as sharp as the moonbeam fair, which shows that her features that have an attractive quality, due to which people would be drawn more easily to her in a sexual manner. Her father joined the war and unfortunately died in the battlefield. By sacrificing his life for the army and the nation, he was entitled to a glory which would not fade so easily. Such was the recompensation that her mother, being totally shattered and heartbroken and tormented, left the world too early, without providing for the girl's safety and also for her survival. Her anguished mother's ailing heart could not bear the role of a widow, and therefore her agile spirit followed her husband too soon, or soon enough. Her soul was so distressed and sad that she could not be alive for her daughter's sake, and the infant was left alone in this grave and miser world and in deep penury. It became a very crucial and difficult thing for an isolated self like the orphan girl to think of a new beginning and to hope for a bright future. The infant was left parentless in a world which has no time to spare for any selfless service. This modern world is cold, detached, and can leave anyone totally shattered and disrupted to the very core. In this bleak, cruel, and insensitive world, the orphan girl had no relation or friends. She was just left alone, who could only ponder about her futile existence. Who would give her a shelter, a residence, a home, a family, and a warm hearth, and would befriend her wretched soul? She has to survive in this savage world because people are too occupied and wrapped up in their own illusory existence. How can they have time for a small girl who has been wondering about the helplessness in this despotic world that she has been thrusted into without any chance of survival, or without any option, or without any choice? Life is like a dreary desert for her, and she is destined to walk alone and fend for herself. The poet presents the pensive mood in a sorrowful tone in the second paragraph. For alas, the wretched have never a friend, and we, the readers, are reminded immediately of the universal truth that a poor man in reality can have no friends or relations. And should she stray away from virtue's way? Should this orphan girl despise modesty, morality, and virtue, and embrace the vices which comes in the form of temptations and seducing desires which can strain her character? This becomes a major question for the readers to ponder upon. Ironically, the world which refuses to give her shelter and some warmth will not lag behind in judging her thoroughly. The ruthless world will scorn her in such a brutal manner, in such a heinous manner, that it will morally degrade her own soul. It will be a morally degrading thing for her to be alive in this ruthless world. She will be scathingly disparaged by the people for losing her honor, for losing her self-respect, where the women are always judged by the patriarchal norms. It might create a psychological turbulence or a kind of situation where she might not understand the real value of her life, because people will end up giving her sermons and lessons where it would be said that she does not have any right to be alive in this world if she loses her honor. And she must know the etiquettes, or the principles on which a woman should survive. It might hamper her own existence. Her entire existence will be summoned with shame by the people who did not even care for her or gave her any guidance. Her heart will be ripped apart by the sorrow, the guilt, the shame, and the judgments passed on by the people. The wound will cause her pain, and it would remind her constantly in a very consistent and continuous manner about the sufferings of survival. As a desolate being, the detached world will tear her apart, both physically and emotionally. The world teaches us about the nature of human beings. We are taught to succumb to our infinite desires that takes the form of vices. The blood is gushing out from the wound that has ruptured or disrupted her bosoms. Her life stands as if it had been fissured and bifurcated. Isn't it the binaries and the dualities that are omnipresent in the human nature? We all know that the evil resides in the good and the good resides in the evil. The tears that flows from her eyelids are like the pearl drops which shines bright as her face lies heavily clouded with dark emotions. She is a woman who has been wrong and chose a negative path that dissipated all her virtues and positive attributes. Probably this is the reference to her future self, where her sorrows would not receive any pity and sympathy from anyone. She would be a woman who chose immoral means for her survival. So, how could she expect the world to forgive her? However, after presenting such a grim future scenario, the poet hopes that a person comes up who would be blessed and honored and would provide for a helpless creature like this orphan girl. He hopes sincerely and prays to the Almighty that she should be provided with a shelter, a home, and a reason for which she could feel and be alive again. The man would be divinely blessed as he would provide for this girl a home where she would feel safe, away from the prejudiced, biased, and the humiliating world. Thank you, my dear listeners. I conclude today's lesson plan with a hope that you all have understood the simple analysis of the poem, which would help you to broaden your perspectives about this present topic.